Hey everybody, we're back again and we're going to be talking about stream ciphers. Moving on to stream ciphers, these are symmetric key ciphers where plaintext digits are combined with a pseudo-random cipher digit stream. In essence, each plain digit is encrypted one at a time with a corresponding digit of a key stream. Next, let's talk about the key concepts. In stream ciphers, the key stream is a pseudo-random sequence of digits generated for use in ciphers. So they're completely random, and that's how they're generated. So this is important because the sender and the receiver must be at the same position in the key stream for a successful encryption and decryption. Perfect. So what is a pseudo-random number? Um, so we have a pseudo-random generator. Um, And for an example, the PRNGS, say that a couple times, the PRNGS is considered to be a linear conjunction generator. A simple type of PRNG, given a seed, it generates numbers corresponding to a specific formula involving in constructs and in mods operations. So when we talked about module arithmetics, this helps us understand this as used within this pseudo-random number generation or the PRNG. The output may appear random, but it is entirely deterministic and will produce and it will actually reproduce the same sequence if reseeded with the same value. So that was a mouthful. Let me just say it all over again. The output may appear random, but it is entirely deterministic and will reproduce the same sequence if the reseed is added again and it with the same value. So now let's actually talk about what is reseeding the PR and G. So an example of seeding a PR and G would involve using a key such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you seed if you seed the PR and G with this key, it might generate a sequence such as 6, 9, 2, 7, 1. If you later reseed the same PRNG with the same key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will reproduce the same sequence. So whatever you seeded with, whatever seed you're using will produce the same number. So it may be random the first time, but at the same time, if you're continuously using the same seed, it will produce the same outcome. So this makes it a deterministic behavior. So with this deterministic behavior, it is vital in cryptography because both the receiver and the sender needs to generate the same key stream to encrypt and decrypt. That's why it is important to have the same output. So if you put in an input, you're expecting the same output time and time again. So now we talk about ensuring enough randomness in all of this. So for the PRNG, uh, is to be effective in cryptography, it is crucial that it is seated in both unpredictable and sufficiently random. For instance, a system might take the current time in milliseconds, combine it with the number of free memory addresses inside the system, and apply a hashing function. Hashing function, as we mentioned before. This process generates a seed that is hard for attackers to predict. Okay, and then we talk about key streams generation. And then so for once we have the PRNG set up and seeded, we generate the key stream. So let's say that our PRNG produces the sequence of numbers of 6, 9, 2, 7, and 1. If our plaintext message is represented as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a simple stream cipher might combine these using what is called an XOR operations to produce the ciphertext. This is how key streams is used to encrypt and decrypt. So what we need to understand about this is to never reuse a key stream. It is crucially important not to reuse a key stream in crypto and encryption. An historical example of this mistake is the use of the I can't pronounce this word, a mega machine in World War II. So cryptanalysis were able to exploit the fact that the Germans operators reused reused the daily machine settings. So this wasn't done at any randomness. They kind of just used the same thing over again. So what they did was effectively reuse the key stream in combination with known standard messaging headers known as plain text. This allowed them to break the machine cipher, demonstrating why key streams reuse is critically is a critical security risk and there's a lot of vitality within the stream ciphers. I know that was a lot to absorb, so we're going to do a quick pulse check. But before then, we're actually going to do a practice quiz. So what we are going to do here is that we're going to understand why is it important for key streams. What is the importance of what is the importance of stream ciphers? Is it? Let me go here. Take out the pen. So is it is uses a longer it uses a longer key length combined with a blockchain. I don't think we talked about block ciphers. We haven't talked about block ciphers yet, so that doesn't seem to be right. Um, it does not require the receiver and the sender to actually have this to be synchronized. That doesn't seem right because actually one of the things is that they need it to be synchronized for it to actually work. It is primarily used for securing data. Um, we haven't talked much about that, so I don't think that's the correct answer. Each plain text digit is encrypted one at a time with corresponding digit of the key string. So this comes directly from the slide itself. So with that, that is the correct answer, and the answer here is D. Perfect. Let me close that off. Cool. Now, pulse check. Take a breather. Next thing we're going to be talking about is actually going to be a lot of different things. So take a moment, breathe, pause the video here. And next, we're going to get into one-time pads. So now we're actually talking about one-time pads. So moving into understanding the definition of this and then what it needs to be secure are a couple things, right? So the type of stream cipher, which when used properly is unbreakable. This is because every possibility plain even every possible plain text of a given length is equally likely to be the result of the encryption. So what are some things that need to be secure? So the key stream must be truly random. So it can't have some sort of idea behind it of how this is going to get generated. The key must be at least as long as the plain text. So if you're going to have a plain text that has 10 characters, the key also needs to have about 10 characters. So you can't have a plain text with 10 characters and a key with only 6 of them. The key must never be reused in a whole or in parts. So never reuse the key again. As we talked about before, what are some security risks that could happen? And then we use the example from World War II. So take a moment. I know this is a lot, but let me break this down to you. So the one-time pad is a type of stream which, when implemented properly, can be truly secure. Now let's note a now let's go into an example, a simplified an example actually. So suppose that we have a very short plain text message that we want to send securely. Let's call this hello. To work with this in a mathematical context, we first convert it into a numeric representation using the ASCII, so the ASCII values. So H becomes 72, E becomes 69, and so on, leading to the numeric sequence of 72, 69, 76, 76, 79. Next, we generate a truly random key with the same length as the plaintext. This is a crucial requirement for one-time pads. As we mentioned before, the key needs to be the same length as the actual plaintext. For the sake of this example, let's just say that we have a key number as 12, 23, 34, 45, 56, just for this example. Each of these key values corresponds to the character in our plaintext. So now to encrypt our plaintext, we add the plaintext and the key together, performing the operation module 256. This operation ensures that our results stay within range of the valid ASCIL values. During this, for each character given to us, a new numeric sequence in our ciphertext. So now it becomes 84, 92, 110, 221, 135. This is what we transmit to the receiver. To decrypt it, the receiver, who has the same one-time key, simply reverses the process by subtracting the key from the ciphertext, again using module 556. They'll recover the original numeric representation of the plaintext, which, when converted back using the formula, will result into hello. If anyone intercepts our cipher key, or if anyone actually if anybody catches our ciphertext before the receiver gets it, they wouldn't know what our key is, and they don't know what to even do with it, so they're out of luck. The ciphertext is just a sequence of numbers, and without a key, it is equally likely to be any 5-character sequence. This is why the one-time pad provides perfect security. However, one-time pad is more of a theoretical construct than it is really not used in a practical sense for most applications. It requires generating, securely distributing, and securely storing keys that are as long as the message you want to send. This is typically impractical, especially for large amount of data. Furthermore, ensuring true randomness for key generation is non-trivial task. Okay, now we're going to jump into something of the RC4, which is a river cipher 4. Take a moment, breathe. Um, so for our example involving the SSL and its successor, the TLS, which are protocols for establishing secure connections over a network. So if we have any network people here, this may sound familiar. In the past, RC4 was often used these protocols to provide confidentiality for the data being transmitted. Let's consider a practical situation. You're making a purchase on an e-commerce website. In order to transmit your credit card information securely to the server, it needs to be encrypted. In the past, RC4 might have been the cipher employed to do this. The server, knowing the key, would then decrypt your information for processing. However, the RSC4 isn't perfect. So over time, several vulnerabilities were discovered that could allow an attacker, under certain conditions, to recover small bits of plain text from the ciphertext. This directly threatened the confidentiality of the data, which is the very thing that ciphers are supposed to be ensuring. These vulnerabilities led to RC4 being phased out in the favor of having a more secure algorithms like the AES. And later versions of the TLS, despite its vulnerability, studies RC4 gives us valuable insights into the design and the operations of stream ciphers, and more importantly, the kind of vulnerability that it could potentially arise in them. It serves as a historical reminder and educator for tools on important cipher designs and the challenges of maintaining security in a rapid evolving technological landscape. So RC4, what are some pitfalls of it? So unfortunately, as we mentioned, RC4 is known to have several vulnerabilities, notably basically in the outcome key stream, and that reveals information about the plaintext. So basically, it was meant to secure information and confidentiality, but it couldn't do it because it was always getting attacked, and that kind of goes against the main factor of what ciphers were supposed to be doing at the time. So because of these vulnerabilities, RC4 is now considered to be a broken and unsecured. Okay, cool. So we're going to be talking about modern stream ciphers. So a couple different ones we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about the Cha-Cha 20, developed by Daniel Bernstein, is a modern stream cipher known for its robust security and high performance. It is widely used in several um, modern day security protocols, including the TLS and the IPESS, or IPSEC. One of the strengths of the Cha-Cha 20 is that it runs on the 256-bit key, offering high resistance against brute force attacks. While your browser secures data transmission within a website, it could be using Cha-Cha 20 for encrypting processes. So pretty cool. Next, we're going to be talking about Salsa 20. And this was also developed by the same person, Bernstein, in another modern stream cipher known for good security and simplicity of implementation. So, despite being somewhat overshadowed by his successor, so the Cha Cha 20, as we mentioned before, due to his minor enhancements in security and efficiency, Salsa 20 is still notable in the sense that, for instance, the DNS curve protocol employed Salsa 20 to, or sorry, Sal- Salsa 20 to to ensure security of the DNS requests, provided an additional layer of security to domain names resulting resolution processes. Next, we're going to be talking about AES, one of the more famous ones here. So AES, or the Advanced Encryption Standard, is a popular block cipher. We'll talk much more about this in week 4. So when used in counter, so CTR mode, however, it functions effectively as a stream cipher. So I know we're going to be talking about it here, and it's more so considered a block cipher, but and more so it's effective as a stream cipher. So that's what that means. One of the key advantages of AES or CRT is that it allows for each block to be encrypted independently, facilitating high-speed encryptions and decryptions. You might see AES CRT used in tasks such as encrypting a hard drive, where ensuring data confidentiality is one of the most important aspects. Okay, I know again we just talked about a lot of different things, so let's go into kind of talking about some quiz questions. So over here we're going to be talking about who developed the Cha Cha 20. So take a moment, think about it. So if you got the correct answer, you would have chosen B, Daniel J. Bernstein. Okay, and then the next one. So who also developed the RC40? So take a moment, think about who developed this. And this one is kind of in the name if you think about it. So what is RC40, right? It's going to be A. The correct answer is A. Perfect. Let's take a pause check. Breathe. I have Hassan Minaj here. So take a pause check. Breathe. We're close to ending the lecture. So let's move on. So we're going to be talking more about stream ciphers inside cryptography. So we just talked about a whole bunch of things, and I gave you definitions of why is it important, what is it used in, what are some examples. So now, why is it even talked about it in cryptography? So in the realm of encryption, stream ciphers offer data confidentiality, as mentioned, by encrypting data with a unique key stream. This means that the encrypted data or the stream text cannot be deciphered without correct keys. A practical example of this is in secure messaging apps like Signal or WhatsApp, which may use stream ciphers for end-to-end encryption. In this scenario, your message is encrypted on your device and only decrypted on the recipient's device. So ensuring that no one can read your messages as it travels over the network. So if you're using WhatsApp, if you send a message over to one of your friends, nobody over the network should be able to read it. The only person that should be able to read it is your friend, or in this case, the receiver. So another advantage of stream ciphers is its speed and effectiveness. They are often faster than using few. They are often faster and they use fewer resources than block ciphers that we'll talk about. Essentially, in hardware implementation, this makes them particularly suitable for systems requiring real-time communications or devices with limited computer power. Consider VoIP or the voice over IP calls or video conferencing, where data needs to be encrypted and decrypted quickly to maintain a smooth conversation. Stream ciphers can handle this task effectively without causing any significant lag or delays within the communication. Stream ciphers are also praised for their simplicity. They often have fewer implementation complexities compared to block ciphers, which can reduce the chances of implementation errors leading to security vulnerabilities. We always like things that are simple. We always like things that are simple and secure. This simplicity is beneficial for systems such as embedded systems or Internet of Things or IoT devices where a lightweight yet secure encryption solution is required. The less complex the implementation, the less likely it is for an error will occur, will it be introduced within a system's flaw. Cool. Next, we'll talk about, despite their advantages, stream ciphers also come with a lot of vulnerability or with certain vulnerabilities. So, key and initializing vectors or IV management is crucial in stream ciphers. Reusing a key or an IV can lead to significant security breaches, as it can result in it can result in key streams reuse. And as we talked about, that's a big no-no because a condition where an attacker can start to unveil a plain text from the ciphertext will just have catastrophic results. We've previously seen that this issue is now defunct, so it is WEP protocols for networks for wireless networks, where poor keys and IVs management led to security vulnerabilities. Therefore, careful key and IV management is paramount when using stream ciphers to maintain the security benefits. Okay, perfect. So we have our last practice quiz question, and that is, what is an example of a secure app? So earlier, what did I talk about that is a secure app? What is an end-to-end encryption? Is it Telegram? Nope, it's not Telegram. Is it people call it KIK or Kink? That is not. That's actually one of the most unsecure ones. Twitter DMs. This is not what we talked about. It is actually a WhatsApp. Get a little check mark here. Boom. And okay, and then the next one. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, perfect. We've come to the end of all of this. So here's a quick summary of everything that we've talked about in this PowerPoint. So this is part two of the week three's lecture. So if you haven't watched part one yet, I highly advise you to watch part one. It talks about discrete probabilities, and this one here focuses more about stream ciphers. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. But with that, we are done with week three.